Hi guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry, and today it's all things apples. So about a week ago we picked what apples we had on our trees. One tree only gave us about 5 and the other tree, I don't know, maybe 3-gallon bucket full of apples that we felt like were worth saving. The rest of them the deer could have because they'd already started on working on the tree and getting the apples off the tree. We are currently getting bids to have deer fencing put up so we don't have to deal with that anymore. Thank you. But we have all these beautiful apples, and so I'm going to do all things apples on this video. You're going to get a couple different recipes and what I'm going to do with it. So I've already peeled and cut up, and cored, peeled and cut up some apples, and I have no idea what kind of apple these are. When you taste it, it's got a very firm texture, but when I taste the apple, the first thing I said was delicious apple juice. What? So I will be making apple juice with the rest of the apples. I've got 2 recipes that I want to do for baked goods, and then the rest will be for apple juice, I believe. I might make an apple and pear pie later, but we'll see. Anyways, so today we're going to make an apple pie, and then I will come back and I will give you a recipe for another apple dessert and or breakfast type food, and then we're going to do some juice. And maybe can it. I don't know. I'm going to have to cut corners somewhere just so it's not an hour-long video. So let's get started. Come on in and let's do something with some apples because they're delicious. Okay, so we're going to get started. So I want a double crust on mine. So what I'm doing is I need 2.5 to 2 3/4 cups of flour. I'm going to go on the 2 3/4 cup side. I don't mind if I get a little extra pie dough. And if you want to see how I make pie crust ready to go, just add water for like the holidays, to have it made in bulk, made ahead. Let me know in the comments because I will bring you along. So I've got in here 2 3/4 cup of flour, and this is going to make me a double crust, no doubt. I need some salt in here, and I really like having a good teaspoon of salt. So we're going to put a teaspoon of salt, and it can be heaping. Ooh, not that heaping. Okay, so a heaping teaspoon of salt down in there, and we'll get that roaming around. Woo! Get that mixed in good. You don't want any salty spots, if you will. And sometimes, because it is for a pie, I will actually add a little bit of sugar. Now this is a mixture of 1 cup of brown sugar to a half a cup of white sugar. We're going to need a lot of this for our pie, but I'm going to add a tablespoon of that to our pie crust. Just sweeten it up. Well, maybe let's just go 1.5 tablespoons. Because why? Because I can. Yes. Okay. Now we're ready. So I have lard here, and I prefer lard. I've done butter and lard, and that's really good too. We could do that, but we're going to do just strictly lard. So what I do is I open the package, and for this recipe, we are going to need 1/3 of this, to be sure. Okay, so do we feel like that's 1/3? It might be on the heavy side, but we're gonna be fine. Let's get 1/3 of this 16-ounce block of lard. And again, if you want to see how to make pie crust so you can skip all these steps during the holidays and just add water and roll it out, I got you covered. So leave me a comment, and it's like one of the most eye-opening, fantastic things I've ever come across. But we want a buttery pie crust, or a flaky pie crust, not buttery, but there's going to be butter in here. It's just going to be in the pie itself, not in the crust this time. Okay, so you're just going to get this all cut into your sugar and your salt and your flour, and we're going to cut this in until it's pea size, or it's well incorporated. We still want pieces of the lard in here, and you can get in here with your fingers and do it too. I've done it with 2 knives. I've done it with this old pastry cutter that I've had for, I don't know, probably 40 years. And I think I got it at a garage sale. Didn't know what it was. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's a pastry cutter. Because when I was a kid, we did all this by hand. We just got in here like this. So my mom didn't have any fancy schmancies. This would have been a fancy kitchen gadget. She would have loved it, but she just didn't have that stuff. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, just like that. Get in here, break it up, get all that. And this is kind of a workout when you do it like this. Working out your forearms. Okay, as soon as I get this all worked in, well, you know what? I'll keep you in the real time, but I do want to I don't want this video to go too long. So you're just going to continue to work this till you get kind of a shaggy, oh, it's coming together, because all of that couldn't be better. And we're going to chill this down with some ice water. Now, your hands do warm up the lard a little bit. I don't mind. If I had time, I would throw this right now into the freezer, and but I've got ice water, so I'm good to go. Okay, let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. So now we got to add some ice water, and I've got my ice water right here. It depends on the day. You're just going to add it a little bit at a time until it starts coming together. And now I'm not working it so much with my hands because I really want it to come together. My hands are going to come and be involved here in a minute. But for now, you've got... And I'll leave you a recipe down below for a basic pie dough, or this one. But know that the water variation could change depending on the humidity. It's kind of a cool fallish day. It's really, it's only about 68, and I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, so now I feel like the dough is coming together. Can you see that? It's starting to stick together, starting to get something going on. I'm going to set my apples over here out of my way, and okay. And I'm going to need some some flour down here. And just so we can pull this together, right? And Bob says, yeah, that's right, Mom. If I need a little bit more water, it's okay. It is okay. I think I might. Not much, though. And now my bench scraper comes in. Just to help me out. And once you can hold it together like this, you know you have a pie crust coming together. And you're just going to knead it a little bit. Not much. I don't want it to get warm. It's nice and cold. So just pulling it together. A little bit of water. And again, that ice water is key. But you guys, I think all of you kind of know that. Okay. And what I like to do is kind of fold, layer, and fold until I get it into a nice ball that I can work with. And then I'm going to cut that right in half. And I want a bigger part on the bottom, so I might go a little on the, a little bigger than, so this is the bigger portion. I'm going to, while this right here is sitting on its own, this one, get that all set up. There we go. Okay. That definitely feels, this one feels like it's a little bit bigger. So we're going to go ahead, flour our surface again. Right? And get my rolling pin. And I moved it to a new spot. Kitchen reno is happening. In fact, I'm having a hard time getting videos because it's so loud with the construction, but my little bake center, the walls are up, the new powder room walls are up. It's windows, or the big window for the dining room is going to be, I'm just so excited. I can't even tell you. So the big reveal will be coming soon. Well, not soon enough, but we're still saying, whoop, by Christmas. Well, there we go. Lights out. I'm not sure why that happened, but we had a little power surge there. So roll your pie dough. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I've got no power. I guess we might not be baking a pie after all. If not, this could have to go in the, well, okay. Let me find out why we've got no power, and then I'll come back and get this going. Oh my goodness. Okay, never fails. Okay, so I don't have a choice but to put this pie dough in. I'm gonna put it in my dish, and we don't have any power. So until we have power, this will end up staying in the refrigerator, which is fine. It'll actually do the same thing as what would have happened. Oh, this could have been such a nice deep dish pie. I need all my stuff, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna cut off, well, that won't cut it. We will cut off, yeah. Cut your dough. Give yourself some room though. You don't want to cut it too short. You can do this with scissors. You can do this with a knife. You're just cutting your excess off the outside. And I put the top crust because I'm trying to get my husband's attention. He's mowing, and obviously he doesn't hear the text. And see if he can come in and see. I checked the breakers, and two were tripped, but I'm not sure why it didn't come back on. So, okay, so we have extra, but I'm not going to waste that. So let me get my apples in here, and this is how I'm going to do my apples. Is I've got the sugar mixture, and so that was a 1 full cup of lightly packed brown sugar and a 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup of regular sugar. And I'm gonna, my secret ingredient to a really good pie is cardamom. So about 1/4 of a teaspoon of cardamom. Gives it a floral note that nobody else's apple pie has that. And everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. And then I'll measure this one for you. This is apple pie spice. And I want a good teaspoon. Is that a teaspoon? Nope, that's a half a teaspoon. So we'll do a full teaspoon. Sorry, a full teaspoon of apple pie spice. And that is what's going in this filling. And some cornstarch, because we're going to need a thickener. These are going to let off a lot of juice. So let's give it 2 tablespoons. And maybe a heaping, yeah. Tablespoon of cornstarch. You could use whatever thickener you want. You can use flour, and that works too. But we're going to do it this way. And I hear my husband coming, so we might have to stop and restart. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to mix this all up. I'm going to put it down in my pie shell and dot the top with pats of butter. So I'll probably voice over now. So we are still working on the power, but that's okay. In the pie crust this goes, and it looks like a lot of apples, but these apples will cook down. So you need a lot of apples. I want a big old pie, mile-high pie. I don't want a wimpy apple pie. And neither does anybody else that's in this household. So now I'm going to get in here with my, oh yeah, that's perfect. And if you were using store-bought apples, it's at least 5, if not 6 Granny Smith apples. You want to make sure you have plenty. All right, hopefully you can see good enough. I'll try to enhance the lighting. I don't know if I can or not, but I'll try. Okay, so I've cut into pats, but now they're like holding together. They're not wanting to separate like they were. So we'll grab the knife and have it help us, because I cut these into little pats of butter already. But now that it's sitting here, you know, and this butter is crucial. I just don't even know how to explain it. It ends up giving you kind of a carameled flavor to your pie. It's just so wonderful. So I do not scrimp on this. I literally will go with just about a half a stick of butter in there. Okay. Now wash my hands, and I wish I could take you outside. It's nice and bright outside. I'm so sorry. But we're still trying to figure it out. What happened? Somebody might have hit a transformer or something. So, okay, this is my top crust. It's been in the freezer, actually, and I'm going to wrap this up because I can put that away, and any scraps that I have can go in the fridge, and I can use them tomorrow. And actually, I have a recipe idea I'm just thought of for you guys for all things apples. Okay. And here we go. Get your pie crust rolled out. And it does roll better after it's had a little chill time. I really love homemade pie crust. Oh my gosh. It's my favorite part of the pie is the crust. And you can make little individual pies. Normally I would do something like that, but today we're just making a big pie, and we'll share pieces. It's going to be pieces of pie. Oh, I don't want to mess up my pie over here. Okay. And I believe I've got it just right. My pet peeve, if you roll it too thin, then you don't have those flaky poof layers, right? And not enough pie crust. It's too thin. So Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to roll it up on my rolling pin, just like that. Bring my pie over and unroll it right on top, just like that. And now I can cut off, and I'm going to use kitchen scissors because there's enough excess here. We're going to cut this off. And then we'll get to crimping, crimpy crimp. And I will put these scraps with the other pie dough that we've already done. And you'll want to have an egg wash handy. So my neighbor who I get my eggs from, she's getting pullet eggs now, which are little, but they're perfect for an egg wash because to make an egg sandwich you need 2, but or any large egg recipe you need 2, but for a pie crust, one of them is just fine. One of those with about a teaspoon and a half of cold water, and there you go. Okay. This is the rest of my pie crust. But I'd rather have this much left to make, now I can make a small individual pot pie with this. I'd rather have this than not have enough and be short. So I'm going to put that in the refrigerator. You could actually, package it up real nice and tight and freeze it, but I'm not going to. I might make an individual quiche with that. So here we go. Now we've got our pie crust together. I'm going to fold it under all the way around. I want to kind of seal that together. And then we're going to crimp it. But I want to get it folded under. And like I said, the pie crust is my favorite. So I want a nice big thick crust on this edge. So I just fold that top crust underneath the bottom. Just like that. And then you're going to come in and you're going to start crimping. And if it doesn't feel like it's folded or connected correctly, fix that problem because we don't want to blow out. Although we're not going to be baking this right away because I have no electricity. So this is going to go sit in the refrigerator, which is just fine. If we were in a, power out, well, we are in a power outage, but if we were in a grid down situation, this is, we wouldn't be putting it in the fridge, but we'd have to figure a way to cook it outside. And I could do that. Get the old big green egg going. Might have a little smoky flavor, but you can do that. Okay, get your crimp in your edge, and there you go. Done. And there's that beautiful pie. Now, I am going to want to, after I brush this with my egg wash, I'm definitely going to want to put some venting on here. So get your whole thing washed up with the egg. And then we'll get our vent holes in, and this pie is going in the fridge waiting, obviously, for the power to come back on and the oven to preheat because it was all preheated to 400 degrees, and that's what you're going to want to bake this at. You want it to go into a super hot oven. Okay, so, and if you don't egg wash something, that pie crust will have a really dull, drab look to it. It's not very appetizing. This will give it a nice sheen and beautiful, beautiful crust. So that being said, now I've got my little paring knife. I'm going to go ahead, vent this up. Whoop. And we'll be ready to bake it off as soon as I have power again. Guys, the power is back on. This is out of the fridge. I'm putting it in the oven. I preheated the oven to 400 degrees. It's going in the oven. I'll probably have to put a light drape of parchment paper to keep the crust from burning. But we'll be back when I bring it out of the oven. Woo! And drop it. I just painted my nails. Okay, so even with the power outage, we managed to get the pie done, and it overflowed. Oh my gosh. So these apples are super juicy. It was a lot of sugar too. So next time, maybe I'll cut back on the sugar. I'm not going to cut into this yet. It's still really hot. When I do, I will either do a small clip or I'll at least do a picture for you. And we're going to head right on over to the next recipe, because this apple pie, it's still really warm. It smells divine. I can smell the cardamom, which is my favorite with apples. So, okay, let's let that finish cooling down, and we'll go on to the next recipe. We are ready for another sweet apple treat. Oh, I'm so excited. These apples are wonderful, and I'm gonna find out before this video is over. I think I have a sheet of all the trees that were planted on this property years and years ago. The apple's 20 years old, or the apple tree is 20 years old. Just like my plum tree is 20 years old. So we need to, I don't know exactly what to do, but we need to prune it or encourage it to give us more fruit, because it's kind of quit. We got 3 gallons. It's a big tree. And the other one doesn't give us any apples hardly at all. It gives us like 5. So if you know anything about apple trees, leave me a comment. So I'm going to make the topping to our little muffins. We're going to make we're going to make buttermilk, apple, 3 raisin. I'm just going to call it raisin muffins. But there's 3 different raisins. There's the black grapes, the red grapes, and the golden grapes. So we have black, red, and golden raisins, and they're divine. All of them have a different flavor, and they're just wonderful, and I absolutely love them. So I'm going to make the topping, because I'm going to make like I guess a streusel. I don't know if you'd call it that, honestly, but I want to make a topping for these, and I'm excited. So to be really, I've got, this is, well, let's measure it out. I'm pretty sure it's 2 cups, but we'll measure. I have to go down. There's a stick of butter that I melted. And I never mind if there's extra of this. Oh, 2. And we'll say that's 2 1/4 cups of organic rolled oats. These are just, they're not instant, they're just rolled oats. And then we're going to need some flour, and I want a 1/2 cup of flour. So we're going to half a cup of flour. We'll see. I might need a little bit more. We're going to need some brown sugar. So let's give that a whirl. And this is, remember, just for your topping. So brown sugar, let's give us a loose packed, scant shy of a cup. Now I'm happy, all right? And you're going to mix, mix, and mix until you get everything incorporated with that butter. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to sprinkle some of this in there too. This is apple pie spice, which will go in the muffins, but just a little sprinky sprink won't hurt on top, right? Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. These muffins are going to be so good, and I'm bringing them to work. So I had kind of semi-promised Friday that I would bring some kind of a treat in, and I just ran out of time. So here we go. All right, I'm gonna call that delicious. We don't want to put too much sugar in there, or because the sugar will liquefy just like it did in my pie, right? And I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to bring you in close because I think you deserve to see what's happening in the next variation. Okay, now we're ready for the ultimate recipe. So here I have 1 duck egg. This is in a half cup measure, half a cup, and it is full. It's full. So you know you have hit pay dirt when you have available duck eggs are available to you. We're going to need a box of vanilla pudding mix. I always do this. I put a pudding mix in all my sweetbreads only because they end up super moist. I can't even tell you, it's night and day the difference than if you don't put it. So we're going to measure out 2, 2 and a half cups of flour. And I already messed up my raisin container. Hey, you're not cooking if you're not making a mess, in my opinion. Okay. And now we need brown sugar. And because we're using pudding, we don't need as much sugar. So and I'm not packing it. I'm going to use a cup and a half of brown sugar because brown sugar has that molasses tone to it. And yeah, it just makes everything better, right? Okay. And then in that dry ingredient mixture, we're going to go ahead with our 1 package of vanilla pudding. Now, you could, if you wanted to make this a little different, you could use a flavored pudding, but I don't see the need. A different flavor, I'm saying. A cheesecake one would be really good in here, but we're going to have the tang from the buttermilk. So I'm just going to get my Danish dough whisk and kind of get this pre-mixed with the other dry ingredients. Now, in this dish, I have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a half a teaspoon of salt. That's all going in. And now we're going to do the pumpkin pie spice. Oh, I'm so excited. And I want I want a level teaspoon of that. That smells so good. Oh my goodness. And I'm not going to add the cardamom to this because I did with the pie. I don't want everything to run together and taste the same, so we're going to just keep it like this. Okay, now we're going to add our duck egg. What? That's a big egg. Ducks have more protein, and duck eggs have more protein. Ducks probably do too. And they have, oh, I hope I got a big enough bowl. What's your bet? Holy Moses. Okay, I'm going to need buttermilk and 2 cups of butter, or actually 1.5 cups. I'm sorry. This is a 1.5 cup measure. Now it's time to make new buttermilk. So I will take a cup of this, pour it into a clean canning jar, and then add my 3 cups of milk and let it sit out on the counter. So I have ongoing buttermilk. These live culture, I do it all the time. If I need a little extra though, I do have enough there, so I'm not worried. I need vanilla, and I'm gonna measure with my heart, like, a teaspoon of vanilla. And let's just get this batter going. You could add apple juice if you wanted. These apples are going to render a lot of moisture, so don't worry about that. I'm probably going to need a little bit more buttermilk, for sure. I'm going to pour off my cup of buttermilk, just so I have enough to make my new. If I have to supplement with milk, I will. Oops. Okay, I've got a cup of buttermilk set aside, and I'll just keep adding from this. Okay, it's almost like yogurt at this point. I didn't shake it though, so that's part of it. But you need this buttermilk. Trust me, it gives you that tangy flavor. Oh yeah. And it's wonderful. Plus, you're yeah, I don't know, you're just getting all the stuff that you keep in your pantry and in your fridge all the time. Look, once you get this batter and you feel like there's actually a batter, just like that, that's about what we want right there. You're good to go because your apples are going to let off moisture. Oh, look at that. So that was more like 3 cups of buttermilk. I'm going to just say that in the recipe down below, just so you have something to go by. If you don't feel like your batter isn't moist enough, or if it's too wet, add a little bit more flour. You'll be fine. Okay, so that's a perfect batter for what I'm looking for. And now I'm going to fold, so I need to get this off out of here. And well, I already mentioned about the duck eggs. Okay, now I need a spatula. Okay, spatula, here I come. I want, oh my goodness, and these are so apple-y. I mean, they're full. There's a lot of apples in this. So, okay, we're gonna measure it out, just so we know. And I do tiny-ish pieces, tiny-ish. I did put fruit fresh on here, but you want that. 2 cups of apples is what I'm asking for, and it's a little over, and I don't mind. We'll put it all in there, but the recipe will say 2 cups. It's not even 2 1/4. It's 2 and a chop. Okay, and next is the raisins. Whoops, man down. The raisins, and these are wonderful raisins. These are red, black, and golden raisins. Yum. And now we're going to fold that in. This is the hardest part of this recipe. Preheat your oven to 375. And there goes all the extra apples that I didn't want, or that I wanted but didn't need. And here we go. But see, for this amount of batter, it's perfect. It's perfect. In fact, I'm going to add, just because I can't see all the raisins. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't want this overly, I want this more apple, not raisin, just raisin for accent, if that makes sense, right? I don't need more. I'm going to pick those up. These are dog treats. Dogs love apples. Just no seeds. Don't give them seeds. Rinse in my hands, and here we go. We're gonna put our muffins together. Okay, now I need to get my, I need a scoop. Let's use, we'll just use this. Okay. Hopefully it works. You want to get those about halfway full to right about the depth of your muffin container, your muffin tin. We'll divvy it up in a while, right? So this is what I'll be doing, and I'll be back when we top them. Now it's time to top them, and I've got my 1/4 cup scoop. You'll notice, I did put a couple raisins on the top of each one, just in case they didn't get any raisins. You're gonna do about 1/4 cup. I hope I have enough here. It made 16 muffins. It usually makes right around between 16 and 18. I might have been a little over generous on some of these, but you want a good top of that, that crumble topping. And in the 375-degree oven they go. I'm super excited about these. I am not a huge muffin eater. I mean, one of these, I could probably eat 1/4 of it and be happy. But, and if I have extra topping, oh gosh, darn, what am I going to do with that? I'll save it. I will put it in the refrigerator, and I'll save it for the next crisp that I do, whether it's an apple crisp or what. But I can't really do an apple crisp yet because we're still eating apple pie. We haven't even made a dent in it. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have extra topping. So about 1/4 cup per muffin. And if anybody looks like they're a little shy, like that one and that one, go ahead and top them off. Okay, so this can go in a bag in the refrigerator and keep for the next dessert. This would be wonderful on an individual apple pie. Yum. Okay, I think I know someone who might need that. And I have pie dough in the fridge. So guess what? Linda's going to put together a little mini pie, and it's going to be a gift. All right. In the 375-degree oven, we'll be back when they're done for a taste. So I rolled out my dough that I put in the fridge, and I think you saw that in the apple pie video. I am going to brush these sides, just what's sticking out over the edge of my little mini pie plate. And this is going to be a gift, so I'm not going to do a taste test, but you will see I'm getting through the apples, and the rest of them I am going to juice for apple juice, because that's all I can think about when I taste these. What a beautiful apple juice flavor they have. And I don't buy apple juice because it's so sweet and so much sugar. I'm not going to add any sugar to it, and I'm going to can it, and that will be it. So I'm getting the edge, and this is just a pullet egg. It's a tiny little egg, but more than enough to do a pie and a half. So I'll put that over the dog's kibble or dinner tonight. They don't even get, well, they've got free choice kibble, but they don't get that. So I don't know that this is gonna, and I really want to press this down, and it's all because I want to use this topping. So I literally did not sweeten these apples at all. So we're going to see how this comes out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. I did add butter. Let's add a little bit of sugar just to be on the safe side, and some cornstarch, because I did have some spillage in the last little bit. So I'm going to add some sugar, about 1/4 cup, and we'll do a little bit of cornstarch, and that is easy peasy. Maybe, I want to say a healthy teaspoon and a half of cornstarch in that sugar. That's just brown sugar. We'll put that in there. There's sugar in that topping, so I'm not as worried about it as, you might think. I'll work it in there a little bit. I could have tossed those apples in that. I wasn't even thinking. I'm just thinking, fill that pie. Fill that pie. Okay. And now more of the topping. And we're going to push that down. Press that right on top of those apples. Ooh, and we're going to get this all used. And I'm going to put this on a baking sheet to keep me safe this time, because pie overage juices is no joke in the kitchen and the oven. The oven's going to get a good cleaning here. I cleaned most of the mess up, but you got to wait for a cool day to run that cleaning mode. So, okay, there we go. Now, my pie can go in. So I have 2 pies. This will be a gift, and I'm excited because the person I'm gifting it to loves apple pie. Mostly the pie crust, but loves apple pie. Said that that's their favorite, so we'll see. Okay, and off we go into the oven. 375. I'm probably going to cover it with parchment just to keep it from getting too brown on top. And then I will bring you back when I pull it all out of the oven. Hey guys, so this is what we have. And actually with the pie from yesterday, I guess I should put that in the screenshot. And I'm going to, the rest of the apples that I have out in the garage and here are going to go in the steam juicer. So I'm going to juice them and can that juice. If you want to see how I do that, leave me a comment down in the comment section. I don't want to make this video so long that we can't get through it, because a couple of these multitasking videos have been a little long. So, okay, here we go. This is the apple. It's a buttermilk apple and raisin muffin. And I'm just gonna cut this. Oh, no. I was hoping these were cooled off enough, but you might have to take a little knife around the edge to get that parchment. These are just, these wrappers, I'll try to leave a link. They're just parchment wrappers, and you could make these yourself if you wanted to, but it's just a square. You fold it up, and there we go. We're gonna give this a big taste test right now. Okay, so let me cut that down the middle, but that's what your muffin's gonna look like. That looks so good. I'm excited for this. And I'm not, you guys know I'm not a big sweets eater, but I will give you a taste test on this one. There's that apple. So that's the interior. So yummy. So let's get, oh my gosh. So moist. Pudding. And then the top, that top. I don't, oh my gosh. I apologize. That was not a YouTube bite. The combination is perfect. These are nice and warm, but they'll be perfect for breakfast with coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, I used to be, but not anymore. I'm more of a tea drinker. But these muffins are delicious. I hope you try them. You can do this in a loaf if you wanted to. You can do it in a loaf, but I really like the muffin factor only because you get your own individual with all the topping, because the topping is really good. You definitely want that. And here's the individual pie, which is still hot. The pie that I made last night, and like I said, the rest of the apples will be juiced, and I'll try to make a video for you. If you leave me comments, I'll definitely post a video on how I make apple juice from our apples, which is, there's not that many left, but there's enough that I don't want to waste them. So even if I just get a couple quarts of apple juice or a couple of pints, I don't care. I'm good with that. I'm just preserving. So I guess it's kind of like the every little bit counts challenge. Every bit counts challenge is going on right now. So that's what we're doing. All right, guys. I can't wait to see you next time. I hope you'll leave me a comment. And if you do, give me a thumbs up. I love that. It tells YouTube that you like the video, that you want to see more of this content, and it helps me interact with you. I read all the comments, so I can't wait. I can't wait to see them. All right. Bye. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you for staying until the end, and I appreciate you so very much. I hope you subscribed and leave me a comment.